boroughs like Queens
Yeah.
or Brooklyn, it's all about, can you get to ride the subway by yourself? Like you ride with your parents.
That's the thing.
And how far your subway is from where you live. My subway station was real close to where I grew up in the projects.
Right.
So yeah, that was always the big thing, to get your own tokens and get to go to the Manhattan. Like they used to call Manhattan like the city, like money making Manhattan. So that was like, you're doing something. If you go into the city, you got business, you trying to do something, get a job, and just
Yo, that's all right. Now
successful.
the subway take me out. I was good. I was like Brooklyn and Manhattan. Okay, I could do that. Man, I don't know where I was going with that. I was like, I could take the subway by myself.
Oh, you got to get lost. That's a rite of passage.
I ended up in Queens.
Don't say the 7 train.
I don't know, but it was the last stop, and I was like, fuck. I just got an Uber, $100-something back to where I came from. I ain't never even on a train by myself again. That took me out. I respect them little kids that be going to school around the train by themselves. It's different.
No, it's a rite of passage. And again, most of us don't grow up with a car in our family, so that's the difference of it. But maybe I'll grow up one day and learn how to drive. But
I'm gonna teach you. It's gonna be the next show.
Well, teach me how you make music. I'm really curious. Like, I don't understand your creative process. Like, what?
It changed this album.
Okay, yeah, I was gonna say.
Before, like, I get the beat. I have everything was just there, and I just write based off that, right? Like.
Little MC shit. Whatever beat you got, I got something.
I think, like, the thing I was going for, like, trying to earn respect, show I'm dope, I'm dope. So now it was like, I threw all out the window because, like, man, I got the respect from the people that I wanted from, you know? But this time it was like, man, how do you connect with people? And I went in and it wasn't, like I started it with S1, really. Yeah, I stayed in Dallas a month with S1, him and his wife, Teresa. And, I was like, Terrace got me thinking like that, because he would be like, yo, Rap, come to LA, Terrace Martin, and let's just have a jam session. Like, just come in with the musicians. Like, don't just freestyle and just come up with stuff. I was like, bet. We never did it, but that was always on my mind. So I was like, yo, S1, like, I don't want a pre-made beat. Like, I want to really create to emotion. You know what I'm saying? I don't want the beat to guide me. I want to tell the story and guide the beat, you build around that. So he was like, cool. So we started off with, like, instruments first. Like, I'd be like, just give me a piano. And I write to that. And he might build the drums around it. It was just very stripped down instrumentation. But then we went further. I did a writing session with Alicia Keys and Raphael Sadiq one time.
Wow.
Before I started doing this, and I walked in the studio and she had all these photos, like printed out things from that, whatever. It was just to the wall.
Like a mood board kind of thing?
It was a big mood board.
Wow. And
I was so inspired by that. So I was on Pinterest and I was penning like poems and pictures that just felt like how I felt. Or the day, whatever my mood was that day. Or even producers, I'd be like, yo, here's a color palette of like 4 colors. This is what I want the album to feel like. And S1 was like, well, print all them out. We're going to put them on the wall. We put them on the wall. Every day I would come down. He'd be like, Rap, how you feeling today? And I look at the wall and I pick a picture. I'd be like this.
Wow.
And I'd be like, what does it sound like to you? Like, if you made this in music, this picture, and that's how we created.
Wow.
And I let that guide me. So that was it. It was just like, how are you feeling? And we translate that into the music.
Yeah, because I mean, it's so deeply personal too. Like, how do you think, how did you arrive to that you knew you kind of wanted to tell your truth and was willing to go with real courage in your creation, like really deeply personal at times?
I was at a point, one, where it was like, I don't know, I'll always do music no matter what, but I was like, the act of putting out music in the music business, I was like, man, do people even still care? Is there space for me, right? I was at that point. But, I got to the point where, like, nah, you still love it. And two, like, I was going through a healing and a growth phase. So, like, I was great friends with Misa Hilton. And she's like a life coach. She's like a life coach. So we were friends, but she was life coaching me on the side.
She's not just a brilliant stylist.
You know what I'm saying? Like, that's where my freedom started. You know what I'm saying? Like, really unplugging from, like, chasing things and learning to validate myself and love myself. And freeing myself from just, like, all these illusions and fantasies. And to either other people's ideas of like how I show up, what I should rap about, like,
or their judgment of you, or their comments. And
then, like, I talk about it in a lot of other interviews. I was going through like healing from a breakup in a relationship. So and I'm in a pandemic too, right? I mean, we all by ourselves. I ain't have no TV on. I was just really into myself. And I was just really into this phase, pardon me, of like, man, I have so much inside because I'm thinking and feeling different because of Misa. I'm feeling everything 10 times heavier now because I have a different type of awareness. And it's like, where is this going to go? Because I can't keep it all in. It's too much. Like, I can't even cry it all out. So it just all poured out in the music because after Eve, I was going to put out an Adam. But it was
yeah, that's right. I think you shared that with us.
That's not where I'm at. And to my friends, they put up a mirror for me. They like, you're already going through this healing phase, but like, why you putting out the music? Like, don't be afraid to share your truth. And you got to let people see that you're not perfect. And one of my things too, it was so many things. Like, I know I'm going everywhere.
No, please. That's what I want.
So many things happening at one time, emotionally and mentally. Like, you know, is there a place in music? I'm going through a breakup, but I'm also healing and learning things consciously. And now I'm looking at things and I'm like, okay, well, as an artist, you know, my majority of my fan base is men. Why do I have a disconnect with women? They don't connect with you, Rap, because of what you're talking about. Like, you super deep, a majority of them, not all, but you super deep. Like, you're not really talking about your life. And that's what my friends was like. Raina Biddy, one of my good friends, she texted me one day. She was like, you gotta let people know what makes you happy, what makes you sad. Do you like to have sex? Are you in love? Like, who are you? And I had never had anybody put up the mirror like that, because for me, I was like, I'm giving enough. I wasn't giving enough of shit. Like,
maybe he wasn't ready.
Yeah,
wasn't ready.
You know, so in the art, like, yeah, I'm giving it in the music, but you gotta learn, you gotta know lyricism and how to break it down and really get to know, like, the depths of me, because the honest part of myself is I was scared to show myself. You know what I'm saying? It's like, scary. I
always tell people when they used to tease Jay Electronica about not putting music out. I always say, like, there's a courage in creation, right? There's a courage in making the music, and there's a courage in putting out to it, especially in this world where it's so judged immediately.
And that, you know,
there's a lot of courage that has to take place to put this out to the world.
It has to. It's like lies run the world before the truth ties the shoes. Like I said, like, people, you know, have these judgments, they say whatever, and people just go with it. Like, you know, people don't really get enough to know your truth, and they don't have the grace too to allow us to be human. You know, so I was just really guarded and protected, but it took me understanding, like, you have to validate yourself. So what if people if they misunderstand you? As long as you understand yourself, that's all you need. And I settled in that. And that kind of freed me. And I thought about, too, like, who are your favorite artists? Lauryn Hill, you love Stevie Wonder. Michael, I'm listening to their music. And I'm like, man, they're so honest and free.
I know you talked about driving around and listening to Unplugged Lauryn Hill, and it seems like a lot of the albums, you're very fascinated by that period of her kind of disconnecting from the industry, right? Like, why do you think that resonates so strongly with you?
It's crazy. Like, I was listening to the album, I was like, man, she was 20-some years old, feeling this and giving this.
Just had a child.
Just had a child, and I was like, man, that comes from experience, and she experienced so much. And I'm just experiencing all of that now. So when I heard it so differently, and I saw myself. Like, I loved it before, but I never really understood it to the depth of I have experienced some of those things you're talking about, so I feel it in a different way. I'm seeing different. I hear it in a different way.
You talking about Miseducation, Unplugged, or
Unplugged.
Both? Unplugged.
No, specifically Unplugged. The depth of that album, like the emotion of that album, like the freedom. When she says, like, you know, I'm tired of living in a fantasy. I want to live in reality. Real is what people need. They really need that right now. Like, it's a lot of fake things, especially on social media. And that's what I felt like. Everything around us is fake. It's an illusion. It's like, you know, it's
hard to get to the truth.
It's hard to get to the truth, and even to be truthful, and to have a light and a spot to be truthful. So I was just feeling all those things, and like, again, going through the relationship. You know, it was just so much in that album that I related to, and it was a compass for me. And I told Lauryn that, I said, you have been a compass for me all throughout this album. Like, she's one of the reasons and the people that showed me how to get free. You know, outside of, like, my friends and even just having the courage to do it myself. But it wasn't easy, you know. But I'm so happy I did it.
And even the way you presented with the visuals, with Sanaa, with Erykah Badu, it's like, it feels like even the people in your life, collaborators, these people in your life, it's not just a musical collaboration. It feels like true community.
Like the friendships that I had, and they all came at the same time. Like the fact that I was able to work on a movie, on to come up with Sanaa, but she was exactly what I needed at that time. Like, you know, we would just start talking, and she would share her life with me, and I got to see how human she was, and accepting to even share the things that, you know, we got to share with each other. And that was confirmation too, like, rap, this is everybody. Nobody's perfect. Everybody goes through things. Yeah. And she sent me a course, and part of that course was this thing called Unblocked Child. And that was super pivotal to me too. But she gave me that, and I needed it at that time because I had reached like a ceiling where I was doing the work. No therapist, like I'm just doing it myself.
I was gonna ask you, yeah.
But I reached a ceiling and it was like, I don't know where to go next, and boom, there she was with the next key. And two, like Badu, having those conversations, like she was another one. So I had all these like you say, village and mile markers too for my own growth. Yeah. That, man, God works funny in that way, you know? So it was, you have what you need when you're ready for it. Yeah. And everything that I needed was attracted to me because I was open to it.
Even calling it Please Don't Cry, so it's so powerful. Like, what is that significance to you when you hear that title?
Yeah, it's layered for me. You know, we men, as a man, you know, y'all are not allowed to show emotions, especially as a black man. But as a black woman too, like, you know, I watch my moms and my aunties, and they always like strong and tough. They don't show too much. So I model myself in the same way. Even growing up, like what you crying for? Give you something to cry about, you know what I'm saying?
Give you something to cry about.
In a relationship one time, you know, one of the relationships that came from this album, I remember one time I was having like a real stressful day, and I was crying, and they was like, why are you crying? And I felt like, damn, even in this space, I can't be. To the world, I never let people see that part of me. Crying in the interviews, like showing that emotional side, never. Yeah. And it was like, why? Why can't you be human? Why can't you show emotion? But it sparked, like I was on Pinterest looking at poems, because even as a writer, I needed other people to write for me at that time, to find the words to express how I was feeling, what I was going through. And I came across this one poem on Pinterest, and it said, please don't cry, you won't always feel so broken. I don't think I've ever felt like that broken ever in my life in the way that I did at that time. And it just spoke to me. And it was just like that, please don't cry. But it was ironic because you should cry. Yeah. Like rap, you at the stage where you need to be vulnerable. And so I love the irony of it, where it's like, please don't cry, please don't cry. I tell that to myself, don't cry, don't cry. Yeah. But now the whole album is why you should.
Yeah, I used to have that as a kid. I'm definitely a crier. People surprise people with, I guess. But no, like I have my father, and like if I had an argument with him or something, and I'd be really intense, like my eyes would just tear up, and I'd be like, that feels weak, like I'm crying. But like the angriest I get, I'm that type would have tears in my eyes. Like it's just like that type of thing, and how to deal with that stress, and like especially you said as a man, you judge that you're not supposed to do crying is weakness, you know. Right. So I think it's, you know, courageous that you're tackling that, and it just sums up so much. This is a powerful statement for a hip hop album to be called. Please don't cry in that sense too, you know. Yeah, it stopped me in my tracks, and I felt like it would resonate with other people. Yeah. I'm the same way, man. Like it take a lot. But when I go there, I was like, oh man, I don't want y'all to see the bitch in me. So I gotta cry so I don't swing on you. No, but you be swinging with tears in your eyes. That's what I'm saying. It's gonna get messy. It's gonna get messy.
Yeah, especially like I'm the type of person like I'm cool, I'm chill. I take it. Boy, when it fill up and it gotta come out. Yo, it come out crazy.
I don't want to see you when it's go time.
Man, I be cussing loud, yelling, throwing shit. Oh, man, but I'm not that person anymore. I don't even got to hold it in. I just transfer the energy.
When you started recording, what do you view as like some of the more like vocally and lyrically with your verses, like with some of the more challenging sessions?
During this album?
Yeah.
That made it, or just in general?
That made it.
I said a lot that didn't make it. I was like,
wow, okay.
Nigga, you gonna put this out?
So you got the raw unplugged lost tapes.
Boy, oh yeah. Stand Tall was one of the first ones. It's the only song that made it from that 2020 session.
Wow.
In March. That stood the test of time.
Wow.
Excuse me. Just, like, I know the world don't see it, but I see everything that people, question and say about me for years.
Yeah.
And, like, being outright about how I felt about people questioning my sexuality and any part of me, or sharing that I go through anxiety and I have panic attacks. Like, that was the first time it was like, okay, you pulling the curtains back. You ain't open the window all the way, but you pulling the curtains back. So that was one that was like, it was uncomfortable, but it was enough where I was like, okay, I'm easing into it. That one time was definitely the hardest one.
Yeah.
That's
the one I texted you about first. That hit me first.
Yeah.
That one, when it came out.
Allow me to be that honest.
Yeah.
And, I was telling my team, I was like, I'm already prepared for the headlines, for people to just hear the song and be like, Rapsody comes out. I'm like, that ain't even what the song is about.
Absolutely.
Right? But, again, like judgment and people just running with whatever.
Yeah.
And I still never really answered the question, which is beautiful. But that was one, like, especially like having my upbringing. And that one wasn't so much the world, it was my family.
I was going to ask you, yeah.
Like growing up as a Jehovah's Witness, my mom actually texted me about that. And you have to like, you text, you look at it, it'll give you a little bit. And I was like, oh boy, here we go.
I want to click on this.
I think I waited 24 hours. I was like, yo.
Gotta let that marinate.
Even in my grown age, I respect my mom so much. And even to this day, like I never want to disappoint her, but I also know like I got one life to live.
Yeah.
And we all going to experience things, and I'm not perfect. But it was, she handled it very well, in the most loving way. Even to, like, talking about my parents on some things. Like, one, like, I wanted to be honest about my experience, but I never wanted my mom or dad to feel like, to take what I was saying the wrong way or the world to take it. When I say...
That they weren't appreciated and loved.
Yeah, like, when I say, like, my mom and dad, like Tina and Ike, without the hits, y'all don't respect my life. And my dad does not beat my mom, but they argue all the time, But I know is ain't no marriage perfect. Even the ones I thought were, it's like pulling the curtain back from the Wizard. So everybody's just human.
Yeah.
Like because my family, like we come like we don't be talking about no business like that. So for me to even share my experience, I wanted them to know like. It's all about me. Yeah. It ain't about y'all, and I don't want anybody to take it anyway. So I'm glad that it was received in the way I intended it to. Yeah. But just, being that open in all things, and even to say, like, I've never felt socially accepted or beautiful in that way in this climate. Like, to allow people to see, like, I don't want to call it weak, but just you really just being that vulnerable. Because I don't like for people to see nothing get to me. You know what I'm saying? Like, I grew up in a family like that. It could be whatever. It could be you having a bad day. It could be a funeral. We laugh and joke through everything.
Push through it.
Yeah, but I still believe when we all disperse and we by ourselves, we feel things. Yeah. So it was just like, this is what it's like when I'm alone sometimes. Yeah. Yeah.
Absolutely. When did you land on Phylicia Rashad and her role in the album?
I landed on that.
How do you get that? How do you get Phylicia Rashad on your album? How does that happen?
Thank God. I thought of Phylicia. Let me see. I turned the album in August of 2023. So we were thinking about that like around February. And I was with Black Odyssey, one of the executive producers. Yep. I was with them, and they was like, "How you want to sequence it?" So I was in the studio sequencing it, and Black was like, "Rap, how you gonna tie it together?" I was like, "I don't know yet." It was tough for me. It was like it's so personal. I don't even know how to make a concept out of this. But I had been watching The Matrix, the whole John, and I was so I was so intrigued by Neo and the Oracle's relationship because. you know, I had so many oracles. Misa was an oracle for me. Raina Biddy was an oracle. Shana was an oracle. Badu was an oracle. Like, I had so many gods, like, to help me as Neo figure out my way through the fantasy into my truth and own my power and my realness. And I was like, yo, let's do it like that, but let's make it black. And he was like, well, who's going to be the oracle now? Like, man, it came so fast. I was like, Phylicia Rashad.
Oh, it just popped in your head?
Yeah, like, wow. I had been like, when people like, who are the people that influence you? I name Lauryn and, you know, Latifah and Badu and like all the time, but Phylicia is in that. You know, like since I was a young kid, like watching the Cosby Show, watching the Matchbox Girl movie. I don't know if a lot of people even know what that is. Like that's an old John. Like everything she's in, I watch, and I always looked at her as like, man, that she reminds me of my mom and my aunts, but that's how I want to show up in the world. I knew I wanted to do music for a long time, but I was like, I want people to respect me. I want to be classy. I want to be regal, like in my own way. But I always looked at her, had affinity for her for that. So it's like, I've always wanted to do something with her. You know.
What do you see, like elegance, like just?
Just you know, like she just walks out with so much pride. You know, head always high, like. Those are the things that I was drawn to as a kid, because that's what was poured into me, like to love yourself, to be a proud black woman, to be intelligent, but you could also be cool. Like, you know, I understood the spectrum of what a strong black woman was, but she was like the top of one of the top. Her, Cicely Tyson, the same way. Like, I never got the chance to meet Cicely, and I hate that. Love her deep, so it was like, man, this is my opportunity, that it all makes sense. So, you know, I was talking to my manager, and I was like, I don't know if we're going to be able to do it, but for me, I'm going to always try.
Go for it.
Yeah. Since I started 10, I've been writing down my wish list.
If you said back then Jay-Z's going to sign me, they thought you were crazy. So you got to aim high, right?
And you have to. I was like, the worst they can say is no. And I'm okay with no. So my manager really did her due diligence, and she found her manager, reached out to her manager. We expressed what we wanted. She came back and said yes. That I still have not met or talked to her.
Wow.
I don't even know how she feel about, because she, I wrote the script out, sent it to her. She did it on a voice note, and I placed it together.
Dope.
I don't even know if she's heard it, like as a full, you know, piece. But for whatever reason, she felt connected and impelled to be a part of this.
What a gift.
Yeah, you know, I don't know if she did research. I'm assuming she did. Like,
probably Googled you a little bit.
And I've spoken her name in interviews. Like, Essence hit me one year, like, yo, like, who would you, I think it was Mother's Day or something. Who would you like to give flowers to? Like, Phylicia Rashad. Like, I got a whole video, so. But that's how we connected with her on that. Yeah.
And just back to the MC front, I know you're very passionate about getting this guy Lil Wayne on the album.
Let me tell you something.
Just so he can try to tear your head off. That's what you want. You want a challenge, don't you?
Take my head off. Yeah. Let's go. No. I've been listening like to this man since I was 13 years old. Wow. Like in the back of the bus on my Indian style in front of the TV, bling bling. Like I love Lil Wayne, so I always knew, like, he's, again, one that's always been on my list. And I knew that he listened to the music, and he had respect for me, because during the pandemic, he reached out about his rum company, Bamboo. Mac was like, yo, Wayne wants you to write something, like a song for like a commercial song we doing. I was like, word? You know, that I was excited to do
say
that.
Less.
Yeah, so it never came to fruition for whatever happened. The conversation never went any further, but when I did Raw, again, I was with S1 in Dallas. He was like, for me, when I do music, I'm going to try to do it completely myself unless I feel like there's another frequency missing, right? And I just felt like with Raw, I need somebody else to help speak to that and what that is. And I was like, Wayne. You know, the beat felt right. And I hit Mac, and I was like, yo, Mac.
Shout out Mac.
Yeah, he connected us. And, you know, we was just texting, sent him the joint. He did it, you know.
How'd you feel when you got it back and played?
What? When I pressed play, I was like, oh, I heard the lighter.
Yeah.
You hear the lighter, you know we about to get a Wayne joint, no auto-tune.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, he loved me. I said automatic, oh, yeah, he loved me for real. I got the lighter and no auto-tune. And he said my name. Boy, y'all can't tell me nothing.
Rapsody.
Yo, but I was so inspired. Like I told people, I had no problem. I went back and rewrote my verse because I approached it like, I ain't trying to be like super lyrical. Like,
Yeah.
I was trying to grow as an artist and just try different things and not feel like I have to rap here.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, so I was just trying to vibe on it. When I got his verse, I was like, man, that's what I'm trying to learn how to do. Like, flex your lyrical ability, but at the same time, the simple, complex art that he does so well, that Jay does so well. Like, I'm still trying to master that. And I kept writing verses. Like, and all of them were good, but they just didn't feel right. So we actually had a dilemma. We had the original one with the original verse. I sent him and his with a different beat. And the beat actually switched, and I put Nico Brim at the end. But I was having conversations with Terrace. He was like, you should do it different. And Ninth was like, yo, that beat that Nico rapping on, I would love to hear Wayne on that. So we tried it, and that was a vibe too. And I did this long-ass verse, so we was going back like, do we want the better song with the lush beat and the big hook? Or do we want to have a cultural moment where you and Wayne just really barring up on some hip-hop stuff, and you don't really get to hear Wayne a lot of times on like a real boom bap, New York, East Coast sounding beat like that.
Lyrically going against somebody.
Yeah,
boom, boom.
so we just went with the cultural moment.
Yeah.
And I sent it to him, make sure he was good with it. You always got to be respectful. I do a new verse, I'll be like, I'm going to send it to you. I ain't sneak attacking.
Yeah.
You can't even out-rap Wayne. Like,
Yeah.
It just is what it is. I wasn't even trying to do that. I just wanted to make a
You want something better represented you felt.
like just the bar and just the art of what it was. Like, I wanted to meet him there.
Yeah.
So.
Well, you did it. You mentioned Knife. You have one line. You said you and him are like Q-Tip and Fife. Like, what did you mean when you said that?
You know, our relationship has changed. You know, we've heard years like rest in peace, Fife. I know the love and respect that they always have for each other, but we also know like it wasn't always the best of times for them. You know, and that happens with a lot of groups or a lot of people that work closely together sometimes. And me and him are no different. You know, I've grown in my own ways. You know, he is who he is. And we didn't always see eye to eye on things. And even how, you know, things are done, you know, some people like, I might never do it like that. But, you know, you just accept what it is. And one thing, though, I'll never lose love and respect for him and vice versa. You know, like if he needed something, I'm there. Same thing. Like, because we still in contract together, I always make sure I respect him. Like I send him the album, like, listen, let me know like what you think. This is what we doing. So the love and respect is always there, but the relationship is definitely different. You know?
But in this case, you feel like building the music, you know, you're developing even more as a producer in your own right.
Like I told Guru, I was like, Guru, I think I'm gonna do this one myself. Like, I'm executive producing. He was like, I believe you could do it, right? And I'm trying to like hype myself up, like, yeah, tell me I could do it. Because like I'm, you know, growth is like not linear. So you know, I have my days like I can do it. I have my days like I don't know what the fuck I'm doing.
Yeah, it could seem overwhelming.
Like rap. Do you really trust your ear? You ain't never really sequenced something. Knife has sequenced all my albums. Like, do you trust like what you've learned? Do you trust your gut? So it was definitely a process. But Terrence called me when the album came out, and if Terrence Martin called me, I felt good. He was like, nigga, you did that, nigga. You a producer,
Why you
nigga.
sound like him?
Yeah, because you know that's my boy. I know. It's like, yeah, nigga, you did that, nigga. You
With 22
produced
songs,
that, nigga.
you made it even hard for yourself. But so many damn 22 songs in sequencing and powerful.
I know, but what's crazy?
That's a hell of a challenge.
I recorded 360 plus.
Yeah.
So I was like, if I got through that part of
Yeah.
like narrowing that down, I was like, you can sequence it, you know. And it definitely was trial and error. But
No, very well done. I think you could actually you can't even listen to your album unless you listen to it properly sequenced.
Thank you.
You can't enjoy it shuffling it. It just does not the same experience.
I was like, I wanted to call the team. I was like, hey, yo, I know I'm not Adele, but you think like, remember when Adele put out their album and they took the shuffle off? You think they'll do that for me? Think Spotify will look out for me
They
like
did
that?
take the shuffle off,
You
yeah.
think Tidal and all, you think they'll take the shuffle off for me?
Anti-shuffle, by
They
the
like,
way.
rap, relax. Eat there yet, young buck. No.
Speaking of that, like, so then how do you now, even though, like, personally you're in a better space, how do you judge success right now? And do you make jokes about, like, or not jokes, but references to like hits and making hits and the pressures of those things? Like, do you allow yourself to that weigh on you anymore? Or do you totally disconnect from that point and just like lean into your artistic freedom and just telling your story?
Most days I lean into it, but I would be lying to say I don't revert back sometimes because I'm still going through the process of healing and becoming and really detaching from all that. Like, it's really a process that's not overnight. Like, I was just in it yesterday, to be honest with you. Like, stepping back and being like, even after all, like, the great reviews, the people that I respect, like, pouring in and telling me how great the album is. I have my moments, I'm like, man, yeah, you respect it. Like, I'm one of the most respected but underappreciated. But, like, I think about, like, but historically, like, will people remember you? Like, you don't have a hit record. You know what I mean? You're not on radio. You don't have, like, these big cultural moments that are gonna, that people are always gonna look back to when they do a highlight reel. Will everybody feel like they were a part of your moment? I don't know if I've had that in that magnitude. So I think, like, man, I feel like I've been fighting the same fight every album.
In different ways,
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? But, the good thing is, like, I allow myself to be human and feel it.
Yep.
And then I know how to, like, breathe and recalibrate yourself. And again, ask yourself, okay, so what if that's the case? If that's the case, then so what? Because everybody, there's a lot of talented people. Everybody don't have those moments.
Yeah.
You got to be okay with that.
You also don't want to sacrifice your artistic integrity to chase that.
And, you got to be like, maybe that's not your purpose that God intended you for that path. It doesn't make you any less valuable. So that's just a constant reminder for me. Like, whatever purpose you have and whatever path as a vessel you're supposed to walk, you walking in it.
Yeah.
As people, things attract and align to you, you got to be okay with being in that.
Yeah, I think we all forced to do that because obviously the numbers are so tainted across the board. So, and I think that, I think tomorrow you're doing a thing with your fans that bought your vinyl. Like, those connections and those moments, I mean, still resonate to you, right? They're
That's
powerful.
really the real true currency.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And that's what I lean on. But those things always bring me back. Like, fans will send me the voice notes through DM and messages. Or like Royce the 5'9" posted the album.
Yeah, just
very
today.
organic.
Yeah, we're saying today, like way off the album cycle release or whatever.
I ain't even talked to
So it's
bro.
genuine.
Very genuine. Like, people pour in. Like, people send me, like, somebody sent me something that was so heavy when I read it today. They were like, I'm alive because of your music. And that let me know, like, people going through things.
Yeah.
And this is part of your work. And it don't matter if 50 million people know that.
Yeah.
You know it, they know it, God know it.
Yeah.
So it's cool. And it's crazy, everybody keep telling me, like, yo, rap, your real bag probably gonna be film.
Yeah, you never
but
know,
you
right?
have the biggest impact. And I have a deep love and affinity for film, but it's at the end of the day, it's just art and expression.
Well, look at some of the great Jay-Z was Duce or Rihanna was Fenty and things like that. You don't think sometimes it is outside the music. It ends up being the thing that breaks through to the biggest level. In many ways for a lot of artists.
But yeah, man, I just gotta remind myself, like, I can't get caught up in those things.
Yeah.
Those are man-made measurements. You know what I'm saying? Like, the fact that you creating and pouring out, that's all you were put here to do.
Yeah.
Wherever it go, it go.
So before we get out of here, where's it going to go next? Do you feel like this, getting this off just kind of opens you up to just feel like a certain weight is going on and now?
Yeah, big weight. I'm so free.
Yeah.
Man, like, I've been thinking heavy, like, all right, what are we going to do next? Because, I mean, before I landed on, like, I'm putting this album out, I was working on 3 at one time.
Yeah.
I was working on this one, the Adam one, another one. And even through that process, like, I've had conversations with some artists, like, let's do an album together. I'm like, yeah, let's do it. 2 or 3 producers, let's do an album together. And I'm like, yo, Rap, you only one person. So I got all these things in my head.
So
I'm
much
like,
you want to do. Yeah.
Yeah, because there's so many. I went in, I asked, Sherry, I was like, and Roc, I was like, can I
Roc
please?
Nation co-president.
Yeah, I was like, can I please put out 3 albums in 1 year? I was like, please, yo, I got this crazy idea. Like, DMX put out 2, like, let me do 3. Nobody ever done it before, right? Because it was like, yo, I have this vulnerable side of me, but I also got, like, this side of me that, like, I grew up in Snow Hill, North Carolina. People don't know that side of me. That's another side of me. Like, it was just so many pieces of me that I still have yet to share. And so, I don't know, but I have a lot of ideas.
Yeah.
So, right now, I'm just like, I'm going to just live a little bit.
Yeah.
And just see where my gut take me.
Yeah. And you hitting the road soon?
Yeah, we start tour in late August. It's one country. We ain't done with the paperwork, but it's gonna get done. So we going out overseas, then we hit Europe, then I do the North America, U.S. and Canada run, and God willing, I could fit Africa in there. So I'm working on that heavy.
You have the set list down yet? The set list down? That's a challenge now that you have
it is kicking
catalog and a new album.
Kicking my ass. Like, I thought sequencing the album was a thing.
That's a tougher sequence.
Is kicking my ass. I saw Adam Blackstone. I was like, can you please come help me? I need, like, I ain't afraid to ask for help on this one. Because I'm thinking, like, yo, you going to do... I was like, I don't want to do the album, like, just top to bottom. Like, you got the album. I want you to have an experience. So, like, I'm pulling through old catalog. And
how do I tie my older songs into these new songs?
And make it... I feel like I got, a solid start.
Yeah.
But I know it's going to change a little bit. But it's going to be fun. I haven't been on the road since 2019. Yeah. So I'm looking forward to it.
I forgot the point I was going to say. One other theme that is constant on the album is that I feel like your salvation is vacation. Like, you type this as a problem, Rap going to get on that plane and change the weather. Is that really how you deal with stress or deal with when things get real tough?
Man, no. I'm trying to get better at that. Like, I took my first and only vacation in 2021.
Oh, wow.
When I tell you, like, all I know is to work until you get it. I never felt comfortable taking a vacation. I remember, like, throughout the years, me, Knife, and the team would go to different places. We went to Miami one time, I think. We was down there with Mike and Keys. No. I forgot who we was down there with. But, like, some of my other label mates went to the beach. I ain't see no water. I still don't really know Miami because I was in the studio. Like, all I know is work. So I took my first vacation in 2021. I went to Anguilla. And I was like, I understand now.
Yeah.
Why this is so important.
Yeah.
I haven't taken one since, but I take time. Like, I'm a lot better at saying no. I used to never
put that
say
phone
no.
on Do Not Disturb.
Yeah, fact. Yeah. Like, people, like some of my best friends, I'll be like, we'll pick up when we pick up. Like, I'm understanding you have to fill your cup because you can't pour from an empty cup.
Yeah.
And so it's like I learned to put myself first. That's what it was. I grew up where I watched my mom. I still watch my mom do it sometimes. Like, give.
Constantly for others.
Yeah, never like giving things for free, time. Like, so that's what I knew. That's how I knew, like, this is how you get love from people. And I had to unlearn that. Like, if they love you, they still gonna love you regardless. So I'm a lot better at, like, putting myself first now. Yeah.
Well, thank you, Rap. Appreciate you.
Thank you, Elliott. Thank you for always making space for me.
Of course.
Like,
Beautiful.
appreciate you.